Welcome in everybody to Running the Riffs coverage of the North American Challenger League Open qualifiers. Spring Qualifier 2. It's the one we are covering. If you missed it yesterday, we were covering Ole Miss's games. They have started out 2-0 and are looking to clinch their spot into the GSL groups with a potential game coming up here against Polestar. My name is Yanni. I am joined once again by Rare Adam. Adam, let's take a look at the draft. Waste no time. See what these teams have put together. An interesting pairing of Varus and Maokai for the bottom lane of Ole Miss. But on the other side, Pulse's pairing seems a little bit worse to me. At least that's what jumps out.
I think the major point is just how early they were willing to pick this Kai'Sa Rel into the Varus off the rip, basically. Kai'Sa, of course, did get a little bit of a buff to her ult range, so at least she can join fights a little bit easier, especially when you look at the rest of the crowd control on the side of Pulsar. However, you still have to worry just about Kai'Sa's early game in a lot of senses. She does have good damage, levels 1 through 3, but at this point, Varus is one of these AD carries that has just been really stubborn, like an old shoe you can't get rid of in the meta because he's so strong in lane, and that translates over to late game scaling. So I'm a little bit worried for Lunar and Just here coming in as this new bot lane for Pulsar. This is sort of a repeat matchup. Of course, Pulsar did go up against Ole Miss in groups, I believe it was.
Yep.
Yes, groups.
GSL groups. That was the win or go home match after Morningstar Whitehead defeated Ole Miss. And Ole Miss, there were two very close games, but ultimately only two games. Ole Miss did take the victories and did move on. And remember, yesterday it was a different Ole Miss that you and I had seen compared to OQ1. And if this new look Ole Miss decides to play the same way they were prior, I'd imagine they are in pretty good shape. Take a look at the rest of the team compositions around them. Orianna in the mid lane, Wukong in the jungle, Cassante up in the top lane. I think this is the first time we may be seeing Stray on Cassante.
Second time. We saw it yesterday.
Second time, yes.
Yeah,
we
he played it into Udyr against YPPH.
And we
didn't really do
Wukong
much in lane, and then just sort of popped off from there. So I think for Stray here, playing this tank matchup is perfectly fine once again. Main thing to note, your Uncle Sam off the Karma this time around. Had great performances yesterday on it. Now switched over to the Orianna, and to Orianna Silas, I don't mind this matchup. I think it's pretty neutral. Repi does have decent ults to take away. Chain of Corruption. You can get the combo with the Shockwave as well if you're able to dash into everyone. But for the most part, it's really just going to be about if your Uncle Sam can continue to press forward in the same way that they have with the newfound confidence, I want to say, that we've seen come through from Marty.
Yeah, and that's going to be put to the test, right? Because there's a Sejuani on the other side, and you've got two melee solo laners, so this Sejuani is looking to make an impact. A jungler that can certainly gank an Orianna, a champion that is not too great at escaping ganks pre-6. So certainly something to watch out for. Adam, let's get ourselves onto Summoner's Rift here for the third game of Swiss OQ2, the first game of day 2. Ole Miss Polestar winner here will go and clinch themselves a spot into the GSL groups.
Yeah. Oops, I need to update the overlays and everything too, but we'll be good to go in just a little bit. This is... Oh, wait, it was P5, and now we're going to PS? Yeah, 2-0. Everyone's
You got it. Good job.
I'm updating the overlays live.
My
That's just how we do it here, but nonetheless.
A little scuffed, a little scuffed.
Listen, I had 50 minutes to update that, and I just forgot to do it. Oh, well.
There was other stuff that you and I were worried about. Come now.
Yeah, I was updating VLR, full disclosure. Nonetheless, no invades. It's going to be just a nice chill start here. Something else to note, both of the supports did go for their support items as opposed to the double Doran's items that we've seen come through in the bot lanes here. Sort of makes sense considering it's a Maokai and a Rel. They already have all the defensive stats that they need with Aftershock.
Yeah. So that is going to be pretty nice there, right? Especially because of the damage that can come out, It's like, all right, you're really, really tanky. Get this Aftershock. You get the little damage over the hump, especially in 2 versus 2 engagements, right? Any extra damage that a Sejuani can put out, you will be incredibly happy with. Polestar, so far today, on day 1, actually, they, took on the Carolina Reapers, got the dub there. They took on Reluminate, a team that is, currently 2-1 going into the day, right? So, that's pretty good, right? Like they're beating some solid teams. Obviously, Carolina Reapers, they've got an okay team around them, right? But that win over Illuminate is pretty big, especially Shimmer over there is really the talk of some of these OQs and how strong of a jungler that he is.
Yeah, and you wonder if Shimmer could have potentially been on one of these top 10 teams given the right circumstances, but instead on Reluminate. A little bit of a lower ranked team, nonetheless, still has had some good runs at things thus far. As we look at it right now, junglers just sort of playing their old style, and we talked about this new Ole Miss style that has come through where they play a little bit more slowly, calculated in the early game, especially to eke out leads and then continue to expand on those. Seems to be a very similar situation. There's no crazy invades that could have come through with how much information Ole Miss were able to pull from Kryra in that early game. You would have maybe expected a vertical jungling to come through, but instead Icelandic Hero just going to go to that bot side already, though. Potential gank in that mid lane. Kryra shows up and then walks away.
Yeah, good job there by Uncle Sam. Playing down, he realized that, hey, you know what? It probably feels like their jungler's up on the top side. I'm just going to, kind of play to the safer part of the lane. And he's still, largely dominating Reppy here. Obviously, it's to be expected. You are a ranged champion into a melee champion. Reppy doing a pretty good job in making sure that he is staying afloat in CS. But yeah, again, nothing crazy feels like it's going to happen. But once you hit level 6 is where the fireworks are going to start coming out. The Cyclone from Wukong, the Shockwave from Orianna. Varus and Maokai ultimates on the bottom side. On the other side, you got Rel at level 6. Obviously, Sejuani at level 6 is going to be the real big break point of like, okay, it's time to really start doing things.
Yeah, and Shogo going to take a quick reset here, pick up a couple daggers just to make sure they can continue pressuring this lane. Your Uncle Sam,
Ooh.
Big trade.
Yeah, he took a lot of damage, but he deals a lot of damage. Nice ward going down there as well. Kryra trying to get closer to his buddy. Uncle Sam flashes forward and picks up first blood, and Kryra can't close out the kill.
Incredible stuff coming through from your Uncle Sam. That's the aggression that we're used to seeing from Ole Miss, but this time more tempered. Knowing full well that the only way that Kryra was going to be able to get there was either a blast cone or using that Arctic Assault over the wall, and now shows up there, full confidence, just flashing forward, able to pick up that kill, and that's first blood. Once again, over to your Uncle Sam, who has started to get quite a significant number of solo kills now, especially in this Swiss stage. If we see this continue, Ole Miss are going to be a force to be reckoned with, granted.
Yeah, he is in a little bit of trouble here. Did not
Summoners.
respect the engagements coming in. So a lot of summoners burnt, though. As you mentioned, Reppy with no summoners now. Kryra down a flash as well. So, it's just a summoner spell gap.
Yeah, and I mean, Kryra was worth a flash there. I'm sure that your Uncle Sam's perfectly happy with that. Teleports back to lane, and of note, that wave was shoved in at the point, so is able to just teleport back. Doesn't lose a whole lot of minions off of that. The wave on Reppy's side means he's still got to, finish pushing it out. But your Uncle Sam still has priority over this lane, and is able to get a little bit of a better buy here. Reppy would have to try and find a recall to even that out for the time being, but nonetheless, the spot lane just been very methodical from Shogo Rhino. They're up a little bit of CS right now. Nothing too substantial, though.
Yeah, not a whole lot, just a little bit. And one thing that we were just talking about, talking about the Orianna build, right? Very, very defensive, I'd say, going with the tier into the Null Magic Mantle, which is pretty necessary. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Just is going to get fully engaged on. That shield is not going to be enough. You're going to flash, you're going to burn, or you're going to stay alive. They're going to go to Lunar next, forced to cleanse. Can Shogo land the arrow? Not quite. A nice trade there from the bot lane of Ole Miss.
Yeah, major thing to point out is just that, tried to find and engage with the wave pushing in. Said, we've got a couple more minions, we're going to try and make it happen. But Rhino able to turn that on a dime right away. Lots of summoners burned. Lunar was able to save their flash at the very least to survive. But now the dive threat is there on the bottom side. Icelandic Hero showed up.
Icelandic Hero is ready to go, but Icelandic Hero is the one who gets engaged on. He is very, very low. He's got to try to find a way out of there, but Lunar is able to pick up the kill. Reppy is first to roam, and Shogo gets knocked up. He's slowed, he's stunned, he cleanses, but is he going to be able to find a way out? Chains of the Corruption whiffs from Reppy as Rhino is doing what he can, but realizes it's a fool's errand, but Shogo able to get a kill in a 1v3.
Not bad, making the best of a bad situation. I don't think they expected Reppy to just roam when he didn't have that much mana. He just showed up there, was able to find everything necessary. But now, your Uncle Sam, given time to push this wave and potentially get a plate as well, should even out the play, all things considered. But Ole Miss, a rare early game error considering the games we saw yesterday.
Yeah, and yeah, it's still that's the Ole Miss aggressiveness, right? They really went for it, and we're not expecting, as you mentioned earlier, Reppy to be there, Cryer to be there. Icelandic Hero, he is going to be able to get one grub, but Shockey has been having a pretty okay time against Stray right now. Secure one grub here, but it looks like I don't know if the grubs are going to reset. They've got really weird reset patterns.
Yeah, they go out forever. Like, I've had grubs show up in my blue buff.
Oh my god! Yeah,
They just pull up and they're like,
too.
yeah, why are they here? The leash range is very long on it, but nonetheless, Stray.
Yeah, Stray in the 1v1 here. He's going to go all out, forcing the flash out of Shockey. Still trying to look for more, but can't quite do it. Meanwhile, Icelandic Hero going to clear out the rest of those grubs. Did not, see it, went off screen, but the first dragon went the way of Polestar. And that does generally mean 3 grubs for the other side. So Ole Miss will certainly take what they can there, but this game's still very tight, but still very early.
Yeah, it's very early on. Gold is tied, and if we look at actually where that gold lies here, Stray's doing a good job of sort of surviving what is expected to be a little bit of a lane counter matchup here. Renekton is one of those champions that just, you can't get rid of in lane. It will always just stick around, has the infinite resource pool, basically, with the Fury, and can just stay in lane for as long as possible. Stray bought the Bramble Vest, said, hey, listen, I know I'm going to go down a little bit in this lane. As long as I can keep the game close, will be good. Now picking up those plated steel caps as well. There's no way that Shockey's finding a solo kill, barring some gross misuse of ultimate or of abilities from Stray.
You saw Cryer there in the bottom lane, just hit level 6 and immediately look for, hey, do we have a potential play to make here? That'll be the big thing to watch out for, especially now that Shogo is still down summoners, as is Rhino. Those flashes not being available means that Cryer lands a nice ultimate. It could be disaster for couple members of Ole Miss, but he's just going to head to the top lane, clear out his top side. Meanwhile, Icelandic Hero clearing out the bottom side. So, Adam, do you think that this is the way that Ole Miss kind of... Are they okay with the way this game has gone so far? I mean, they've taken a couple fights and lost a couple of fights.
I think they're still decently okay with the way things are right now. Sorry, I'm trying to get someone draft links as well. At the same
you're
time.
fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
It
feels like. Go ahead.
They're okay. They're in good shape right now. Once again, they've drafted a very strong scaling team. Cassante does incredibly well in the later stages of the game. Wukong still has utility no matter what, even after an item. We'll get back to that point after.
Ooh, nice job there by Reiner to knock him away. Change the corruption goes down. But Reppy is going to steal the Maokai ultimate. Here comes a full engagement 4v3. A lot of damage coming out. A lot of cyclones coming through. And Just is going to fall. It's a 3-for-0 for the side of Ole Miss. How did they turn that around?
Honestly, all off the back of Rhino and Icelandic Hero. Everyone clumped up on that Wukong right as he cloned out. Was able to get that double cyclone, and it provides so much extra space for Shogo to be able to fire on all cylinders. Once again, it's not Ole Miss fighting the engages, it's the counter engages. It's them able to react to these fights and reply in kind, and it works out so well. Back to that point we were talking about, are we okay with how our Ole Miss are in this game? Now we're fantastic with where they are.
Oh yeah, no, it is a great time. They are partying in Mississippi right now, up about 2,500 gold, and that is a back-breaking fight loss, right, Adam? Like, that is something that you're like, oh well, that play should have went so much better. And it really started with Rhino using that Bramble Smash to knock away just before he could land on top of Shogo.
Yeah, and now Shogo with the Blade of the Ruined King already picked up. We'll have to see what the build ends up being, but obviously going to be some variation of on hit. Will that mean there's a Jack Show coming in 3rd, 4th item? We'll find out. That was a big thing that Shogo was a fan of on... Oh man, Champs Q when they were playing on preseason patch, in the preseason. Yeah. He played a lot of Jack Show 4th item on these 80 carries here. Of course, with Radiant Virtue gone, you can't go for the really cheesy Radiant Virtue Varus build, but nonetheless, you still get a lot of damage just off of your auto attacks, off of your W, and then you're able to go tanky afterwards to survive all this burst that may come through. You look at the opposite side, though. The burst that is able to come through is... It's really Renekton that you're worried about at that point, jumping on that backline. Any defensive stats you're able to pick up for Shogo would be much appreciated at that point. Yeah,
I mean... If Lunar maybe ults to the backline or something like that, hold that thought. Icelandic Hero, though, is able to slide out without much of an issue. But if Lunar is lands a W on Shogo, is able to get behind him, or Reppy finds a pretty good flank, then sure, those are some things you'd worry about. But given what Reppy's duty is in this game, I mean, he's usually coming from the front side. He is the one that's like, hey, I'm stealing Varus ultimate, I'm stealing Maokai ultimate, this is how we're engaging our fights. You're not really going to see him look for flanks, but he will certainly look for some fights.
Yeah, and now you're more so worried about how Kryra is also able to get back into this game, because 30 CS behind. That's 7 camps down on Icelandic Hero at this point. Icelandic Heroes had quietly a very strong performance in the jungle thus far this game. It was a part of those 3 kills on the bottom side of the map, which has really sort of turned the tables back in favor of Ole Miss, but continuing to pressure Kryra, and it's the experience that KJ brings to the table versus Kryra, who, of course, 16 years old, still looking to develop as a player here, and has had fantastic performances. It just sort of left out to dry here, while Icelandic Hero is just able to run the map. Run the Rift, one could say.
Oh, yeah, he is running the Rift, and could be running into death. Dragon has been started up by Ole Miss. Good Tangle Roots coming out. They're going to hop on top of Just, and they're going to do so much damage to him. He is going to be able to flash out. Teleport coming from behind. Shocky and Reppy trying to get to the rest of the team.
Everyone's here.
It's a little bit of a split fight. Reppy going to go in onto the Maokai. Maokai taking a whole lot of damage, but they're knocked up against the wall. Rhino is low. Rhino goes down, but all outs are coming through. Shocky is trying to dominate. Just is low. Kryra is low. Lunar's got to try to find a way out. Big stun by Just, but it's not going to be enough to save Lunar. It is a 4-for-1 in favor of Ole Miss, and Uncle Sam says, no, 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 no. It's time for an ace. He flashes forward and picks it up.
Yeah, great turnaround there. And it's Shogo able to deal a decent amount of damage, but it's more so your Uncle Sam just free firing, dropping all those abilities. The Shockwave was used really early on into that fight into Just. It looked really strong, but unfortunately, Greppy steals away the all-out and all-outs the Cassante, and then Stray just all-outs him again. And Stray will end up getting the better end of that deal, because when Silas goes all out, yeah, it really doesn't do much. You don't actually go all out. You just sort of drag him over the wall.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, I don't get the rest of the benefits, so this is not that great.
Basically, he goes for a little bit of a ride. He says, yeah, this is my old, wow, this is so cool. I'm going to become Cassante, who has 15 mana on Q, all that, knock up 4,700 HP, whatever the copy pasta is, but, and then it fizzles out. Stray?
Don't get me started about the copy pasta. Yeah, Reppy unable to land the abduct part of abduct. And now Polestar, they're in rough shape. They're just looking for pretty much anything they can do at this point. Bot lanes have shifted toward the mid lane. Kryra and Reppy trying to do something, but those saplings from Rhino just deter pretty much any engagement. And they're falling further and further behind. Uncle Sam's going to take this bottom turret. Lunar's down to about half HP. Rift Herald started up on the top side. Icelandic Hero not around for it, so Polestar will get something for their trouble.
Yeah, major thing to note, though, is Ole Miss are up 6,000 gold. Normally, you expect Rift Herald to be sort of a win more objective, or the grubs at least. They weren't able to pick up any grubs, so there's not going to be extra Twitch chat showing up this game. It is only off of Rift Herald at that. I don't really know if you can use this Rift Herald to its most effective purpose here, especially considering where your map state is right now. You're sort of stuck behind in multiple roles right now. You're down 5,500 gold. Can you really make that Rift Herald worth it? We'll have to find out, because that mid tower is as healthy as can be right now. That's normally where you're looking to place it to open up the map, but as our good friend Zoo would say, mid tower is not actually that impactful, so you can just give that up, and then what happens?
Yeah, mid tower is fake. Listen, this is why I'm not a coach. I will not understand the method to his madness, but the man does get results, and he does know what he's talking about. You could drop it in the top side if you wanted to, but I mean, that turret's already so low.
Dead, yeah.
It's like turret's already dead. Bot lane, that turret's full, so yeah, you're absolutely right. You're not going to be able to really do anything. Maybe what would be cool is if Kryra makes a creative play using the driving of the Rift Herald, slams into a wall, and just ends up getting closer to make a pick or something like that happen.
Yeah, and use the offensive capabilities of Rift Herald. You drive it and you get that 1 second knock up. If you're able to just drive it right onto Shogo there, you might be able to find a kill off the back end of that. But whether you can find those plays is slim to none at this point, especially considering how all of these plays have been Pulsar engaging and losing off the back end of this. Granted,
big aggression coming out. Lunar was forced to cleanse. Reppy can't even get close. Icelandic Hero is just living in the jungle right now. I mean, he's 2 levels up on your jungler. Why not? El Sombrero coming out there from Uncle Sam. Yeah, you can't hit all of them, but you know, he's still played a good game. It happens.
Yeah, the Sombrero one there. But nonetheless, it's still been a strong game coming through from the side of Ole Miss. They've got this lead, and they're just looking to suffocate it out. Crier's in so much trouble.
Yeah, Crier is going to be able to stun up Shogo, but he cleanses. Meanwhile, Lunar on the side. Big engagement, but they just don't have enough damage. Crier is almost dead. He is dead. Just is going to fall. The teleports come in, and the rest of their team is missing. Reppy going to be able to steal the Maokai ultimate. Shocky has already, popped his ultimate, but he's not going to be able to get into this fight here. He's trying to do what he can, but they just have nothing. Reppy was standing on a ward, which means he's going to take a lot of damage himself. Icelandic Hero flashing over, and Shogo is able to clean that one up, and Ole Miss are just dominating here in Game 1 of Day 2.
You'd expect the Renekton there to be the dominus out of that situation, but instead it was the Subimus. Just had to walk away after popping that ultimate. No positioning allowed for this Renekton to get into the fight. We talked about how it's all going to be about Just jumping on top of Shogo with Shocky following up. Unfortunately for Just, he jumps in, able to find the crowd control onto Shogo, and it doesn't matter because there's no more damage to rectify the situation. Your Uncle Sam was off on the side, no ultimate, just chunking out Lunar to 30% HP, and Stray didn't even have to teleport into that fight, takes down that top tower, and they will continue to mount this lead for themselves. Now that we're getting closer to 20 minutes, it seems a given that Ole Miss is just going to be able to rip this Baron as soon as they want, however they want, and any fight that pulls their take off the back end of this would have to be miraculous in order to come out on top.
Yeah, and why not, right? Take a look at the build from Shogo. It's on hit Varus. He's just going to rip this Baron apart. Uncle Sam's certainly a little bit more defensive, but hey, has the Leandry's burn, will certainly be able to help out. And of course, you can't talk about damage and not talk about Icelandic Hero, Sundered Sky into Black Cleaver combo. That is he is living the life. He is living his best life. Meanwhile, turret on the bottom side, Shocky is going to be able to pick that one up. So he is certainly doing his part. And 173 CS on top of it. Stray is going to look to chase him down. Stray really wants this 1v1. He is taking it to Shocky right now. Those Nintofo strikes are landing. Nice all out there, and he will be able to get back on top of Shocky. He does land the stun. Both these guys both down to about half HP or lower. Shocky flashes, and the Shogo out the bush takes him down.
Yeah, shocked at that is Shocky as Shogo just shows up and says, hey, that's mine. Stray,
Turn
thanks.
you into a pair of
Buddy.
boots.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. And now, once again, that frontliner that you'd expect is not on the table. Still a little bit of ways from Baron, but teleport is down. You can see the positioning starting to look to aggress on this mid lane. Lunar's just dead off the map. Flashes cleanses.
Flash. Yeah, Flash Cleanse will be able to get him out of there. Shogo did burn his Flash there as well to land that Chains of Corruption. So, it could have been worse, Lunar could have died also.
Yeah, but at the same time, look at where the Rift Trail is getting put down.
It's not in a great spot. Yeah, Chains of Corruption coming down. Rhino able to walk out of it, but Rhino is taking a lot of damage. Reppy also very low because Shogo is completely untouched. Nice ultimate there from Just to group them all up. Shocky can't do enough, though. Ole Miss playing at the death ball to perfection there. Just is super low, has to run away. And this Shelly gets in the middle of the fight. She's trying to scrap, but she gets turned to scrap and goes down. Ole Miss, they make a move toward the Baron and start recalling. I love that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you noticed the shockwave there in all the scrum of that fight there, but your Uncle Sam got into 4 members. That was what sort of chunked them all out and prevented them from pushing forward once again. Great use of that, just in the chaos, able to find so much value out of it. And now Shogo 7-1-4. Terminus now completed. Sort of a defensive item in its own right. It gives you those resists that stack up over time, and that Ruby Crystal leads me to believe that there's more in the tank. Something else to note, Shogo has spent absolutely no money on footwear here. He went to the Goodwill, he got himself the free-ass boots and said, hey, these are good enough for me.
Yeah, you know what? You get a little bit extra movement speed out of free boots. You'll take that. He's zooming around the map at Mach -5 right now. Look at him go.
Yeah, Mach 0.1.
Mach 0.1. Looks like he's been zillion slowed.
Oh man, Tempos isn't in this game. Tempos isn't in the ISU game. He's not even in the ISU game.
He's not even in the ISU.
He's the 6th
game.
man.
That's sad. How could you? He's gonna hear this and then he's gonna be so upset at you.
He's just gonna send me some random gif of Gus spraying and call it a day.
Nearing the 22-minute mark here, a minute and 20 seconds until a dragon comes up, that Ocean Drake. That would put Ole Miss, you know, on their third Drake, getting closer to that soul point. But, Adam, it kind of feels like this game could end before that.
I don't think we're going to get to a soul at this rate. Just looking at the pace of play that has gone on, it has been slow and methodical, but not that slow. And still just as methodical coming through from Ole Miss. You know, you can take the madness out of their method, but you can't take the... Where was I going with this? You can't take the method from the madness. There you go. They took away the madness. They still got the method. Yeah.
Yeah, they still got the method, right? You know what? I like what they've done this game too. They've played with a bit more of an aggressive bite. But again, I mean, like, it feels like the old Ole Miss would have taken that tower and said, "We must fight here."
Yeah, Shogo would have just
the tower and walk
burn
away.
cleanse to walk in or something and find an ult. But something to note as well, with how far ahead Rhino is this game, decided instead of going for the Celestial Oppression, which you would expect to go for the Solstice Slay, we'll get back to that point.
Yeah, they're just going to try to rip the Baron here. Shogo going to lead the charge. Engagement goes on to him. He takes a lot of damage. And he's just going to go down, but a huge shockwave. Shocky is coming in there to try to help out the rest of the squad. Rhino getting pretty low, but Stray's time to join the fight is now. They are going to be able to get a kill. Multiple kills, in fact, as Shocky just instantly evaporates. And in a fight that looked so good for Polestar, it goes so bad.
And I think it was the shockwave from Reppy that was first to fire, and it looked really good. And then all of a sudden, your Uncle Sam says, "Nope, I'm your father, Sam. We're going with this bit still." He gets 4 members of Pulsar. It's a supernova underneath them, and that star has popped. It is no longer a pulse. It is simply a pulsar. And Dragon will be the taking for Ole Miss. They are having a field day here. Once again, slow, calm, and collected until necessary. And then it's all jets on. And they just pound that fight once again off of a really weird Baron play from Polestar as well.
Yeah, Polestar realized that they were not having a good time and they were likely to get out of the game. So they're like, hey, you know what? Maybe we can start up this Baron here while they're doing the Dragon. You know, maybe it's not warded. We clear out all the wards. But, you know, Ole Miss knew that they were there, and they did get the jump onto Shogo, but they didn't realize that, you know, Isolated Hero's kind of gone under the radar in these fights, but with that 2-item combination he's got, does so much damage, heals for so much on top of it, and Uncle Sam able to put their damage over the top. It's just no winning here for Polestar, right? Like they need a miracle in order to win this game.
They need a star in the night to lead them to the promised land or to their savior at that. But unfortunately, Christianity has gone down in popularity in the United States of America as of recent. So unfortunately, that star is going to be a little bit harder to find. What will be the result?
They are looking for their savior, but all they find is Shogo and Uncle Sam. And they're about to find Isolating Hero. Good double knock up there. Just is like, hey, let me get to the rest of the guys here. Let me pull them away, which... they're able to do so, but Isolating Hero just staying on top of Kryra, staying on top of levels as well. I mean, it felt like Kryra has never been in this game. Teleport coming in from Uncle Sam means it is time for the Baron to begin. Let's see if Polestar can do anything down 5v4. Reppy wants to try to at least get a ward in, give them some sort of vision. Kryra at about half HP, but Stray is here. Ultimate has been stolen, so now you got the Maokai ultimate to maybe do something. The all-out pulls Kryra over the wall. Baron secured for Ole Miss, and Kryra is gonna cry. He goes down. He's taken out by Stray. Shocky's like, guys, I'm in the mid lane. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah, at the very least, Shocky trying to find as much value as you can, but in that situation, Kryra is beyond scared Stray there. The Cassandra just jams him over the wall, says, hey, you're coming with me, buddy. Puts him right into Slammer.
Reppy engages onto Uncle Sam there, but just doesn't have enough damage, and there's too much damage on the side of Ole Miss. A 3v1 is not one you're going to win when you are down 10k gold, as Ole Miss looks to lead the charge through the top lane. And you know what? They're going pretty scorched earth here, and I like it. Shogo, listen, you know you're in good shape when you're standing there and a Renekton engages on you, and you're like, I do not care.
Yeah, you're in good shape when Shogo is a higher level than Shocky at this point.
Yeah, especially with all the side and solo laning that Shockey's been doing. They're going to engage onto him here, at least try to force him off this turret. I mean, it's so much, as you said. The damage is insane. Isolating Kira takes a little bit back, but they're fighting a war on two fronts. Middle inhibitor goes down
Shockey.
as those roots are coming out. Shockey is going to ult, but he's just going to die anyway. It's going to be a 5v4. Rhino looking for a little bit more. Kryra gets solo Shockwave, but are they able to try to find any way around it? It's knockups everywhere, and just so much damage coming out from Shogo. Shogo's got a quadra kill. Get Shogo the pentakill, man. Lunar is the only one left standing, and he's going to run to the fountain and say, no. No pentakill for you.
Are you sure about that? Shogo's gonna look for it. I think they might go for it. This is the only.
Oh, they're gonna do it.
Oh no,
they're gonna do it.
He's so far back.
They're gonna do it. Stray's like, don't worry, I got it.
Here he goes.
He's really deep in there. Oh, he goes golden. They're burning away. Lunar is low, but Lunar doesn't take any damage because he got the resistance.
He sold his items.
Oh my god, he did sell all of his items. In the end, Ole Miss does come out on top. Another very clean game from them.
Yeah, fantastic stuff coming through. 12-2-9 on Shogo at the end of that one. 6-1-10 on Stray. The only death that he takes is him diving the fountain after he buys 2 Giants belts and says, hey, give me a shot, give me a shot. Last second Zonya's purchase. Man, you hate to see it. Nonetheless, Shogo probably didn't need the ego inflation any further. He's been playing fantastic through these OQs, surely cementing himself as the best AD carry in all of OQs.
Ah, yeah, he is certainly just absolutely, he's playing ridiculous right now. He is playing out of his mind. I love everything that he has done and everything that Ole Miss has done. Adam, not to break the flow of the stream here, but Shibby wants in.
Yeah, get Shibby in here.
All right, let's get it.
We're getting a TriCast going. Oh boy,
are we TriCasting it? Let's go.
I guess we're TriCasting it.